Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Okay, next please. How can I help you, young man?
We want to go all in on CNTM. We like management that runs away with the money, and we like fake buyouts.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check and it's gone.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Laughing Stock. Johnny, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Don't you just love it when management run away with the money?
Yeah, that's always a good sign. You can trust that. You can trust a reverse split to follow too.
Yeah, and this is where we come in, right?
Yeah, that's the kind of deep value we're looking for.
Yeah. No, how's your week been?
The week was actually good and stressful, and even though I didn't perform great, which is terrible because it was a great week for breakouts. I saw them all over the place. I did a lot of backtracking. I'm doing a lot of deep research into the charts. And I'm working on different strategies for entering and getting into things. I'm trying to focus more on stocks that are following my criteria, which, you know, it's nothing crazy. It's, you know, it's looking at all the same indicators that we've been talking about, but more the nuanced version of that. So I've been taking charts and putting them in lists and putting notes on the charts and going through, and essentially I'm going to try and transform one step of my system, and that would be going from where I'm really, even though I'm noticing the stuff that's moving each day and kind of keeping track of it, to kind of planning my next day off those ones, as opposed to always just checking that day and seeing what's moving and kind of using that day as my barometer of which ones to get into. So it'll be a little bit more homework each day, which I think I'm very happy to do that work. I've after looking through, the numbers are extremely promising on what I've seen. Now, the only thing I'll say is this last week was, like I said, a super bullish week in terms of breakouts. There was a lot of stuff that was moving. If I go to my market strength, I mean, the numbers are, 18, 15, 15, 21, 17, average was 9.6. And I was saying anything above that's good. So anything above 10, really, for the way my numbers have been working, is good. So seeing all these numbers there is really strong.
New all-time high in Nasdaq.
What's up?
New all-time highs in the markets.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Markets are ripping. So there's really not much more you could ask for in terms of being in the right spot. And well, you can look at my numbers here. I actually was slightly down for the week because I was trying some different stuff and bouncing around. But as always, the testing leads to new ideas and clarifies things. I kind of got lucky with Mob because Mob kept me up for the week.
Yeah.
That one I got into a 20% position, and that one was all in a day. Essentially, it rode right up. So if it continues up, I'll have a pretty strong start to next week.
Yeah.
And then some of the other names, I'm just in on kind of my old strategy. This was kind of based on that. So it hasn't implemented even any of my new ideas that I'm going to be trying to use on Monday. But if I can get these things to work on Monday, any of the days I've done backtracking, it really works out. Now the execution is going to be tough to do perfectly, so the numbers are going to be a little biased in terms of they're going to be a little stronger than possibly what I can pull off. But it's promising in that way. So I'll see. I'll see when I was talking to Johnny right before the stream and just telling him I listened to what was it? What was his name?
Marios.
No, I did
Brett,
listen to him as well, which
Brett,
all these guys are great. But who's the one that had the
Lance.
Lance? Yeah, Lance Brightstein, or sorry, whatever your name is, man. You just the focus that you said in terms of like ways to improve your trading, that really clicked for me. I'm willing. He always says like most people aren't willing to put the work in. I'm happy to sit here and go through charts all day. It doesn't bother me at all. I think they're reflecting on, all the greats say this, but I've taken on a different strategy in terms of really reflecting on the charts and looking for the nuances and things that are going to make it so I can see where one works. And then just kind of taking the strategy from there. So I'm going to definitely switch over to this next week. And there's probably going to be days I can't do it very well. So it is what it is. On those days, I'm going to have to probably either just kind of step back from the market. So if the returns are a little bit lower than I'm hoping for, it's okay because, I can't sit at a computer and do this full time. If I did this full time, I really... We'll see. If the numbers become promising, I'll immediately switch over and try and do this full time because the numbers I'm looking at are insane. So
yeah.
But we'll have to see. Obviously it's so easy to backtrack and think this is all going to work, and then and there's going to be good and bad markets. So like I said, this last week was probably very biased because the markets were really, really strong.
Yeah.
But
they were.
In terms of me and you had kind of predicted last week that we thought the markets looked bullish. We'd reached all-time highs. It looked like things were going to keep pushing up, and then all week they just followed that suit. So, I think we're able to see that kind of thing now. And I do have my market strength, so every day I'm kind of keeping tabs on how things are moving, what looks strong, what doesn't. And the other big thing too that I did. Sorry, I'm bombarding you with like 100 things I did this week, but I went through a bunch of my screeners and adjusted them in different ways to try and make it so they're giving me back better criteria for my stocks, and to make sure that the ones that I'm actually focusing on are ones that are more likely to continue to break out and or are just starting to break out. So all those things together are promising for me. So we'll see. I got a ways to go here, and we still got a few months before the year finishes up, so I'm optimistic that I can pull off some wins here at the end, but we'll see. How was your week?
Yeah. No, it was a bit frustrating for me. I had a good week actually, but I made a couple of mistakes that ended up me being just slightly off for the week. I think I messed up my stop loss in one of the positions that was actually a 20% position. So when it didn't, I sold out at a much lower level that, I took a loss on that one. And of course, a couple of days later, it's up again. Isn't that how it is always? And then I've had some good success with IMRX, which I'm up like. I sold into strength already, and I've put the stop loss now, so it's going to be profitable no matter what. I never got to add to this, so it's just a 10% position for me. But this one has just kept going, and I think I have like 50% gains on it right now.
Nice.
So that worked out really well. And then I have a 20% position in GROY still, which I've held for quite some time. And according to the sell rules, I should have sold actually this week on Wednesday when it finished and closed below the 10-day moving average. But I'm not sure if I want to use the 10-day on this one. Maybe because I see in the uptrend that it bounces off the 20-day a couple of times here. So I'm glad I didn't sell there, because it did bounce up a little bit, and then came some analyst and said the price target is now $6. So it looks a bit promising, and I have my position in it. It's going to be a profitable trade. So those two kind of made a good week for me. And then lastly, I took, I think, LCTX that went up a lot, actually. 10% it was up in a day, but it fell down a little bit. But I'm still in a few tickers, and the week without the mistake was actually pretty good for me. But of course, I make a mistake when I have a good week, so it drags me down a bit. But yeah, this is what I need to work on, I think, moving forward. And a bit frustrating also, and I said this to you, I was in ONDS, and it worked out amazing. And then the day after, it came with the news that it's going to have a public offering, and it went down 13% or something in the beginning. So I sold it, and then I kept it on the watch list, and I tracked it and was ready to buy. But my my other life, if we can say my other life, kept me a bit busy also this week. So I was just too busy to execute and take it yesterday or Thursday, I think it was.
Yeah, Thursday it moved.
Yeah, when I should have taken it again. And that's just super annoying, because I took it the day before and got stopped out. And I was still thinking, I'm going into this when it breaks up where I had drawn my lines. And I even saw it, but I wasn't on my phone, and I was a bit locked up in that situation. So I couldn't do anything. And then when I sat down at the computer, it was already running too high for me, and I just decided to stay out from it. So that's just annoying, because this one was one I was looking forward to getting in on, because I really like the trend it is in. I like the volume. It's a fairly high ADR stock. Market cap is starting to go up there a little bit, but I think this can still perform well, and it would have performed well if I could get in at my entry there. So yeah, just a bit frustrating with some good trades and some big mistakes, I think.
Yeah. The only thing on this one is it's starting to look a bit extended, like you said. That's the only hesitancy I'd have on this. But
Yeah, I have it now 8.7 times its ATR percentage over the 50-day moving average, which is extended territory.
Right. I do worry a little bit here when they do that, like, public offering and stuff. This is in my opinion about a fourth leg up. Like, if we count this as one, this area kind of as a second. I know it's kind of a two-parter, but it's second leg up. This is the third leg up, fourth leg up. So now we're talking a fifth leg up. That's usually where I see these things start to break down. So I worry that when a public offering comes out, that someone is holding here as a bag holder, and as this gets to break out, they're going to sell their entire position. Like, they're trying to push this price up so they can get out. Not saying that's going to happen, but something I've seen happen before.
Yeah. I see the RS rate on RS line is at new highs now as well. And I mean, you can argue that the market is also on, it looks strong, but everyone is waiting for a correction, right? So maybe we are in the later stage of moves. So I'm not going to be surprised if things start to flatten out and fall a bit. But yeah, hard to say, right? It's coming in volume here, though. Big volume, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, this chart really is. It's following the presidential cycle chart like kind of creepily. I don't know if you ever looked that
Yeah.
up, but it's like a perfect presidential chart. Since
Yeah,
November.
didn't Minervini have a post about that earlier?
Yeah, and I've kept a picture of it on my phone because I like to occasionally look at it just to see. And this chart literally is like a spitting example of that, which is kind of wild. I'm gonna start watching.
Yeah,
that
isn't
as I
that
go.
weird?
What's up?
No, isn't that weird how that just is a thing?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, and it literally follows it almost perfectly. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna watch. I'll be very curious to see how close it follows, and I'll start watching that on the 4-year cycle to see
Yeah.
how close that really is to truth. And I know it's not going to be every year, and there's going to be like, for instance, like a COVID happens, like you can't account for that, and it's going to throw the whole thing off.
But imagine all the noise around the current president and all that stuff, and it still just follows the patterns, right?
Right. Yeah, especially with like Trump, for instance, like it's kind of wild. But yeah, I mean, looking at most of your trades, they all look like pretty solid setups and things to get into. Obviously, I have to go through more of like the nuance of things. But yeah, there's just so many little things I've been looking at in ways to get into some of these things, especially on the bigger moves, and to be able to take advantage of that, and then also to be able to ride these things to try and get the most out of each trade. Obviously, with the sell rules, the real trick is something like this that runs, do you sell into strength on like August 8th on like this run up here or something like that? If you had caught a few of these days here.
Yeah.
It even tries to gap up again on the 12th. Well, it does gap up and then, stays pretty strong before it pulls back and moves sideways. And then if you follow like Qualamagi's rule, you still would be in this on that hold.
I know. Yeah.
So I don't know. If I do adapt Qualamagi's rule and sell, half the position after 3 to 5 days, and then keep the rest for the 10-day moving average. Depends on the chart. Obviously, sometimes that's going to work, sometimes not. But it's possible that it could work extremely well. So it's just one of those things to think about.
Yeah. He has started to tweet a little bit again, or maybe not tweet, but replies and stuff. Have you seen it?
Did you send me something?
No, not about him, I think.
Maybe I actually just saw it. I was on X this last week I haven't been logging on as much.
I think I'm not sure, so don't take my word for it. But I think someone said he was in Open.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, I did see. I saw him post about Open because he was basically saying that after everything that had happened with Open, and it's kind of had collapsed. I guess there's a new CEO and everything had, started to work back out. So now we're seeing Open take back off. And I mean, Open in July was 50 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, what a run.
And I also saw something, he talked about RGTI, I think, because some people said that he argued like the breakout was earlier than this last day. He said it was on 9 of September, which I can see what he means there. It gets really tight. It builds lower high and follow the 50-day moving average, and then breaks out on that day. So he just replied like the breakout was 3 days ago or whatever he said. So I saw some people talking about how impressive his entries are and stuff like that. But if you look at his streams, it's that pattern is fairly easy to spot. But if you also follow his streams, he actually rarely likes the ones that build the high lows on the 50-day. He loves the faster movers that are building it on the 10-day and then 20-day moving average instead of the 50. So I was a bit surprised that he I don't know if he's in this or not, but the theme is good, right? These are still fast movers and have shown in the past, you know, and it does look good at that entry that he talks about there, I think.
Did he say what he got in at?
No, I'm not even sure he is in it. He just said like the breakout was on 9th of September.
By the way, I meant to ask you, like on the camera, it looks like you're very, yeah, there you go. I don't know, it
No,
looked like super dark.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on. Usually it's much brighter, but I also notice it. I just think this is how it is today.
Well, literally, I said that, and then all of a sudden it brightened up. It was like it.
No,
like,
because I switched the screen, so now I'm watching your screen. But earlier I was watching mine. But normally it's not this dark, and I haven't changed it, so I don't know what is going on.
all right. Well, as soon as you change your screen, it made it a lot brighter.
Yeah.
So I was just didn't know if there's something we could adjust.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, there's a few different things I've been watching on these kind of ones that, you know, pull up here, and like even on this one, if you're trying to get in on this initial breakout here, now this one's tough because this is really cheap, and I wouldn't get in on this move down here. This is it was way too low for me, and this is that first one.
Yep.
But when this one pulls sideways and then breaks up through the 100-day moving average, I would argue that you could get in on any of these days, especially as it breaks out. And I do have a new way of getting into names out like this that are moving parabolically like this. Hopefully I can pull some of these names off and actually get this to work.
Yeah. I think that open stock was a bit of a pump story back there, I think, right?
It may have been.
Yeah.
But like I said, always just trying to find ways to get in on some of these names, because some of these names are tough to get into. Now this one I don't know if I could have got into because it's really moving all over the place. But maybe on this day.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it would have popped up on my screener just yet, because what is it hits the dollar mark on this day. So
yeah.
But either way.
But also you can argue like you can find a setup on 2nd of September, right? Tuesday.
Yeah, this pulls back enough that as it hits this, you could definitely get in on any of these days, and then you could try and be holding
and
through
that's
this.
still like more than a double from there.
True, in a really short amount of time too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost hard to appreciate how quick this is moving on this chart.
Yeah, I have ADR at 13.5%, a bit more.
Yeah, which also is how much it can move down on.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's the trick of some of these names, is being able to stay in them confidently, because 13% moves are a lot.
But you talked about stocks being extended earlier, right? This one also is very extended up there, so I think you would have to sell a little bit off into strength there, and however you want to do it. I saw that Mario's guy that I mentioned earlier, he also sold like 1/4 of the position. I know Kulamagi operates usually with half to a third, or you know, a third to a half. And now Ariel Hernandez also does like half, and you know, Minervini talks about selling half. Psychologically is a good strategy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all those things are ways to work. My issue is I'm trying not to overcomplicate the process, because I also like to scale into a position. I think that's one way to really control your risk.
Yeah.
It can bite you, because you can get stopped out at more than one spot, essentially, then, you know, because it depends on how loose you keep that stop. But
yeah, I saw that Mario's guy actually. Then I didn't say this, but he said he'd sold. I don't know how much of the position. I think it was 1/4, and then it was setting up again, and he just added back the shares in the next setup, and I think he's even added more to the position. You know, so trimming and putting that stock back again, it's something also you can look into, I guess.
Yeah, no, and there's definitely an art to doing that and able to try and stay in the name as much as possible while controlling risk, and then also letting things extend so you can catch as much of the upside as possible. That's all. There's definitely an art to it in that side.
Yeah.
And I mean, in terms of it's more of a science, I would say, just because of the fact that like really that should all be just numerical. I mean, that should all just be math, not there shouldn't
Yeah.
really be too much nuance there. Knowing when to actually trim and when to re-add in, that's more the art side, I would say. Being able to predict and guess, or at least see the setup, I should say. That's probably the most
Yeah.
realistic answer. But yeah, this is a interesting example. It's a good chart to look at on something that's really fast moving, and how do you play this? How do you get into this?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been pulling up charts like this. One that really moved up, had this huge up move, had a day where it almost reached $5, and then pulls back and ends up down 10% the next day. Follows this pattern here. Everything kind of realigns. 20 and 10 move together, and then starts to break out of that range here. I would assume most people would probably try and get in on this day.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. But it's tough because you might get stopped out on this day. It depends on how much you follow these kind of things, and then you can try again on this day. That's why I said if you keep your stop tight, even if you get in on this day, you might have survived this day. That's only down 2%, so you could have gotten here and then continued to ride that.
And that top move was like a 80% move. And I saw now the news was that the old CEO, he came back, and also they appointed the return of co-founders to the board. So there's a story still, even if it's extended here. There's a positive story here, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously the other thing too is when you're looking at these charts, putting in notes and things like that, like big news came out on this day. That's why the stock really moved 80%. There's really no other explanation besides on that day the news came out. Everyone that was in it was already bullish, and now it's like off to the races. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I just looked at Ape Wisdom, and Open was on first position and fell down to second position. So there's a lot of buzz already about it on social media. So it is in the meme category.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't get 1 billion in volume very often. I mean, that's a wild amount. And on this leg up here, this was almost 2 billion.
Almost 2 billion.
Which, don't get me wrong, I get it that the stock was anywhere from $2 to $4, so it's not like it's a super expensive stock in terms of just buying per share, but still, 2 billion in volume. I mean, that means that up like anywhere from $4 to $5 billion was moving around on this. And this is a stock that back here, its market cap would have been around 3 billion or so, and was just down to 50 cents.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're talking a pretty big swing in a very small amount of time. This is the kind of parabolic move too that really should be catching your eye and making this stock like be on your radar. This is one that, like, as this is playing out, you should be really watching this name. This should be on your lists, and every day you're kind of following it, seeing is there a spot you can get in, where in the setup are you.
And take the chance when you see something. Take the chance and set a stop loss.
Yeah, because if like I said, I'm just saying on this day here, if I had taken a 5% here, and even if you bought it right at the top at like, I don't know, 260 or something like that, the next day it was only down 2-3%. So you could have survived that if you had a 5 to 7% stop loss on.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if you had ridden that up, I mean, even if it was a 5% position, I mean, that's a huge return in a matter of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Even if you trimmed it as it went up, it'd still be a big win.
And then you see later that Kulamagi is probably in the same stock. Then it's a confidence boost, right?
Right. Yeah. You see his name and everything. You know you're in the right area.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Kulamagi is still in it or even when he entered or if he entered, but I just, the way I read it, he was in this stock.
I'm assuming he's in this one, and he's probably still got a position based on what I look at on that chart.
His rules, yeah.
But I mean, he may have sold off just on this day alone. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah.
much he sells into strength. I know he says his rule is the 10-day moving average, but he also has claimed he breaks that rule. So
Yeah.
on a day where my position's up 80% at end of day, I might trim right there. That's a pretty solid return,
Yeah.
especially if you had gotten in anywhere before it. I mean, even if you got in on I mean, this even here on, like you said, on the second looks like a pretty obvious breakout.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
and
I
I would
agree.
argue even on the 22nd, I mean, it's a little tougher because you probably would have got stopped on the 27th. That was a minus 14% move.
Yeah.
And even this day, if you had gotten in and had some kind of stop loss, where depending on when this got up to 580, where you set that, you might have adjusted that stop loss and got out. But once again, you could get back in here. These are multiple points that like you could win and still get right back in.
Yeah. If you did take it on 2nd of September and you follow Kulamagi's sell rules, you would be up on the you would be in the entire move so far.
Right.
So yeah, let's see. I think well, it moved 80%. Maybe the move is over, but I have a feeling this can go even further.
Yeah, it'll depend. If it can break out from this 1070 or whatever this hit, yeah, it could go higher.
Did you see a NEGG again?
What was it?
NEGG, new egg.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's found a base.
Yeah, it does look like it found a base there. And it was up 16% now. But the moving averages are all over the place a little bit, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But this one is the same. Like you should probably watch it every day for if it comes another setup.
Yeah, it's definitely a fast mover. And I mean, this really sold off. I mean, how many
Yeah,
down
this
days you
really
can
sold.
have where it's that much, you know, shaving off each day?
But still coming in a lot of volume there. So let's see. Another stock that moved this week was FTHM, which I was in it, but I got stopped out on just before the day it started to move. I was in on 9th of September.
What was the name?
FTHM.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a little choppier of a chart, but
Yeah. Sorry, I took it. I took it on. I took it on Monday, 8th of September, and I got stopped.
You got stopped. Yeah. Yeah, and, I mean, yeah, there's going to be little pullbacks, but I will say, you notice on this, on the 9th and the 10th there, as that 10-day moving average catches up, then you really watch it push out.
Yeah.
Which I'm not blaming you for taking it that day because it had also caught up here.
Yeah.
On the 5th and the 4th, so it definitely looked good. But this is why, you know, sometimes I keep thinking to myself is like you gotta really stick with these names. Just because the setup failed on the 8th, which like just for numbers sake, if you had taken a 5% position there with a 5% stop loss, let's say that's a 0.25% loss on your portfolio, whatever. You take it again on this day, and you know you get in somewhere in here. It ends up going up another 15% for the day. The next day it's up 20. And this day's break even, you know, all things considered, unless you sold up higher, you know, or whatever you did. It caught a stop loss down here. But even this day alone, I mean, that's a 30% jump there, you know, in the 2 days. So a 30% jump is, you know, that covers another like 6 trades right there on just that one.
Yeah,
and you had one stop loss that got triggered.
Yeah. No, and I did have it on the watch list. It just moved too fast when it started. That was on the Wednesday there.
Yeah, like I said, this one's a little tougher to get into for me, but I do like the setup.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
And
just
what do you
going
think
through things in my
about?
head. What were you saying?
Sorry.
Oh, I just said I was just looking. I'm really like looking at this chart, and I'm just noticing different things now that I haven't never really paid attention to. So,
Yeah.
every chart I look at now, I'm like taking this much more detailed like dive into it on all these little things, and I hope I'm seeing it. I really hope for their. I've always said that I think I can see little bits here and there, and but now I'm even more nuanced in like seeing how these things move and how they work.
Yeah. If you pull out the ZEPP, ZEP.
Yeah, my broker won't let me buy this fucking thing, which is annoying me.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I was a bit curious. Sometimes that happens to me too. So I haven't tried buying this, but I'm assuming I'll get the same then. But um, all this all this move up is on fairly low volume, right?
Yeah. I mean, besides the initial breakout here,
Yeah.
which was
Beside
really
initial.
heavy volume.
Yeah,
At least
but
for this stock.
Yeah.
But yeah, does anyone know, like Fidelity, is it just because this stock has moved too violently or something, or is there something that like I'm missing on why this one specifically they won't let me purchase? I don't know if like I don't know. I don't know what their reasoning is for saying I can't purchase something like this. This doesn't to me scream any reason I can't necessarily buy it.
Is it a high short interest or something? Let me check.
I mean, I understand that, but I'm not shorting it.
No. No, it's not even. It's 13% of the float.
I just think it's weird that it won't, it says buy orders are not allowed for the security. And it says that for a lot of the ones that are really moving, which I wonder, like, why not?
Yes. No, same here. But on mine, it says like due to liquidity issues.
Yeah, well, and that's probably what I assume is it's one of those ones that maybe they can't find shares themselves.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of times on these ones, previously how I had been doing it is I would be looking kind of end of day to see if I could get into one of these names.
Yeah.
Which I don't recommend, but you can do it if you. I mean, it does work, but
this one obviously look good where you are now in beginning of August, and then once again, I think I would have taken it if I saw it on 29 of August, maybe.
Right. Yeah. No, that's. I think this is the one I tried to get in on this move because I just remember every time I saw this one, I'm like, oh, it can't go up much more, and then 38%. The next day it's another 5%. It moves sideways. Then it's another 27%. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, dude, why are you not in this name? Like, this name has been ridiculous. I had seen this whole run up and didn't attempt to get in it on any of these days.
Yeah. But opposite to the other ones, like I get a bit. I don't know. What do you think about the volume here? It's just much lower than in Open and all those other ones. I know Open is extreme, right? But
well,
still...
this is even a small market cap. For this stock getting up to $50. I mean, this market cap's small. Obviously earnings wise, it's got nothing going on. So, but you have to. All that has to be considered.
Yeah. It says here, ZEPP Health acquires core assets of Wild.ai. So it's an AI thing now, Dayne. Can't go wrong.
Hey, you always buy AI. But
yeah, that was another one. I've also made another one is RLMD, biotech.
this looks decent.
Yeah. Massive volume on the run up there, and kind of setting up right now.
Yeah, it's consolidating pretty nicely off a really good run up. As that 10-day catches up here, I definitely would become interested in this one. I like I said, I probably wouldn't have caught this move just because it's
It's so small, the
I
price.
mean, I will say, I see this time and time again, and like if you look at this stock, like the day, on this it starts to move up here, and it breaks that 100-day moving average, and it runs up for a little bit, breaks back down,
Yeah.
runs for a while, then it breaks that 200-day moving average, and really takes off. So those are good time periods. If you see something breaking out and it's breaking through one of those major moving averages, I tend to see that run a lot.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, at 60 cents, well, even 70 cents, I probably wouldn't have been looking at this, but something to think about.
Yeah. Another one I have is it's not as fast, but AEHR.
Yep.
I think it looks interesting here.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, this has had numerous run-ups. It follows a pretty solid breakout pattern.
Last 2 days been very tight, the candles.
Yeah, agreed.
10-day moving average are sloping a little bit down right now in my chart at least. So, but that can change very quickly.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see where it can go from here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, super strong run up. I've been in and out of this stock. I can't remember where I've played this, but I've definitely done this one successfully. I don't remember if it was back in June.
Yeah.
But, or maybe, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I've just seen this one a bunch. I can't even remember, to be honest.
I saw it coming up in a lot of screens few weeks back, I think, because where is it again? Yeah, that gap up there. It had some news there on 25 of August. And also 22nd of July.
Yeah, it's quite the day.
Yeah. The last one of the fast ones I'm a bit interested in now is maybe AMPG, a smaller stock.
Yeah, it follows a pretty good pattern, though.
Yeah.
What do you have for an ADR on this?
8.19. I'm using 20-day.
Yeah, I think that's common.
Yeah. And it's not that extended either from the 50-day.
No, and like one of like in talking like nuances, I see like where do breakouts occur on this one? Well, it's very choppy through this section here, right?
Yeah.
So you had this big run up, pulls back, and now it's been running choppy. And then on here, you'll notice that the 10, 20, and 50 all meet right here before it really starts to make some move up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then every time it breaks out, you notice the 10 and the 20 meet right here. And then again, meet right here. And that's pre-signaling the next move. So same thing here, this 10 and 20. I would actually wait a little bit, I think.
Wait a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to run sideways a little bit just because it tends to get really tight right before it actually goes up.
Yeah. I know Ariel, he likes when those three meet together and they are really tight together and it breaks up on some volume. For example, on 8th of July there.
Right. And that's an example where all three do. But I'm just saying in the last few moves, it's the 10 and 20 have had to meet together. So one thing I'm thinking about, like when I'm looking at a stock, is like what do I see has previously happened with it? That's just one thing I noticed before it breaks out. It always seems to follow that pattern at least the last two times.
Yeah, it does.
Just something to consider. I mean, I'll say that, and tomorrow it'll break out and double. and we'll totally
But
miss
this
the
one
move.
comes from a poor earnings report. I have not read up on the guidance or anything like that, but you know, that's a bit opposite to what we read about. Like you want the big earning winners and all that stuff. But yeah,
Yeah, but like you said, it's a smaller market cap and stuff too. So
yeah,
these can
it
tend to
is.
run, you know, regardless of what's going on. It seems all stocks can really.
Yeah,
It's just like, you know, the fundamentals are they matter to the extent that there's certain criteria, but other than that, you know, people just don't care.
yeah.
So
One more, then I found one more. DLTH. I'm just curious. Like, for me, that's not fully ready yet, but I kind of like where it's going.
yeah, I mean,
But it had very. I don't know if it's something wrong with my graph, but it had almost no volume yesterday.
well, I mean, there was such heavy volume on these days. It's, you know, but
Yeah,
yeah, you know, it looks like not much is going on right now.
yeah.
Um,
It's still
but you know,
climbing
me,
a bit.
I see this chart. I want this to kind of move sideways, you know, or break
Yeah.
out from some point that seems more interesting to me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, I almost want to wait a little bit, wait till this 10-day at least catches up, because this was such an explosive move initially. It kind of like, it's really tough to say what it's going to do from here without, you know. And if I miss it, it's kind of whatever to me.
Yeah. Also a quick mover, on 10.5 ADR.
Yeah. But once
Uh,
again,
d-
breaks that 200-day, and that's where you see some of these really crazy moves.
yeah. Do you use your 100-day moving average a lot? Because I've kind of muted it on mine because I just look at the I just look at four now, like the 200-day and the 10, 20, and 50.
I kind of like keeping them all. You know, it's not like I'm necessarily always using one or not, but I'm always trying now to find what do I see in the patterns with it. You know, how does the
Yeah.
stock react to it? Has it bounced off it before? And like,
Yeah.
sure, it might not be the most common one that people use, but I still find it has pretty good usage.
Yeah. And some I know you use like the Bollinger Band and use them kind of like a 5-day, right?
Yeah, mine's a short. It's just 5, and really all that does is just kind of show me. It really helps me to see some like consolidation and stuff. Like,
Yeah, because a lot of the times I look at the charts, I can just see without I don't have it on mine, but I can see it builds you know, higher lows on the 5-day, pretty much. A lot of them do.
right. Yeah, it's just another control to use essentially. Like, I don't have a 5-day moving average, so that is like my 5-day moving average essentially.
Yeah,
You know, and then like I said, you know, the actual outer Bollinger Band lines, that's really just showing me how tight the consolidation really is. And the longer something runs, the tighter those Bollinger Bands are going to get. They're going to keep getting tighter and tighter. So it, you know, I don't have to draw a flag, for instance. I can just see it. You know, I just,
yeah,
you know, I can see it with my Bollinger Bands. So,
yeah,
and you know, instead of sitting here and playing around with lines all day, you know, I don't really care. You know, and you know, if I'm gonna look at a line, I'm just gonna go like this, like put a line here and be like, okay, 230, right? Like there's some kind of resistance there. You know, I don't really care.
yeah,
But yeah, other than that, I do gotta get going. I know this was kind of a quick stream. I'm sorry. I know we got started a few minutes late,
yeah.
but yeah,
That's all.
like I said, I think this is some good charts that we've been able to go through this morning. I actually agree with a lot of what you're saying. You know, and now it's me just going through. I'm gonna try and do. You know, I've always been looking at charts, stuff that's working, stuff that's not, but keep diving in terms of the level of detail I'm seeing things, and really trying to pay attention to the ones that are working versus what not, to
Yeah.
really be able to see the different setups.
Yeah.
And hopefully that way going forward, it increases my hit rate. I can't remember. I'm sure multiple people have said it, but if you think about it, like every time you improve like your hit rate by even 1%, that compounded over time is massive. So
It does it has a big effect on everything. Just maybe take less trades and be more picky about the setups, or find a way to eliminate those stop losses.
yeah, and and or just you're hitting better performing names. Making sure that
Yeah,
that's a thing. So
bigger moves.
yeah,
I
so
just want to
it's a mix of
point out.
different things. But sorry.
No, I just want to point out it's a bit of a different stock, but the Tiger, it's now heading to the 50-day moving average, and you said you like to look at the patterns, and if you see what it does when it comes under the 50-day moving average, this maybe starts to be a bit interesting soon.
Yeah, you'll notice there's a lot of explosiveness on the 50. Like this, right here, it gaps right up because it's going to break through 50. Now, don't get me wrong, there was some strength on this day, and this was overnight. It gapped up to this, so that one's obviously hard to call. But right here breaks out, and then it rides all the way up for the future. Comes back down and breaks below it, and then it's bobbling around on it. And it's not as clear because it's up and down, up and down, up and down. But when it does finally run, once again, your 20 and your 10 and your 50, even your hundreds, all right there. Once again, breaks down, kind of pops out again.
That one.
This one where it breaks through the 50 is a little more clear here.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. Every time it's closer to that line, you're going to see it kind of push off of it. So that's one thing it has going for it.
Maybe a bit of a different play if you get in around that 50-day and just to hold it, because you can also see when it starts to drop. When it gets a little bit extended from the 10-day, it starts to drop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in terms of this kind of thing, we can see it goes below the 50 and then comes back up, but you still have the 10-day retreating for most of this move. And then when the 10 gets really close to the 50, that's where you notice it actually breaks out. And that's that's what I'm saying, like with moving averages. That's the kind of like littler details I'm starting to pay attention to. And same thing, the 10-day now has caught up to the stock price, and the stock breaks out of that 10-day, then it breaks through the 50 and everything starts moving again. Comes down, breaks through the 50 here. The 10 starts to catch up. This one takes a little bit longer, so you could get stopped out in here maybe. But now the 20's right there, and it pulls back, hits the 100. And I know you said, we were just saying you aren't looking at the 100 as much, but throws a little credence in there, to giving it some personality, and then pops off that. So, it's just little things to look at.
All the time, this is in an uptrend. Like it's if you draw the channel,
I mean, everything's trending up and it's all in the right direction. Most of the time, it's in the right order. So there is a lot of opportunity here. Like here you get a 6% move followed by a 13, and then even on this day it kind of breaks even. But if you had sold into strength or set your stop loss on this day, you could have caught it. Even if you just caught this gain right here, even just had gotten the 13%. I mean,
and right now that looks kind of like a sure thing, but maybe just worth keeping an eye on. See if it follows and behaves like it has does.
And don't get me wrong, this name's choppy, but part of the reason like I'm talking about like setting charts apart. So like this is like this slow grinder up. So this might not go in like my pure breakout category of stocks, but one that's doing this and it's starting to follow a pattern. Maybe you're right. Like where if I see this one, like this is one I'm more considering. Like if it breaks through the 50, taking a chance on it if everything's kind of aligning, that kind of thing. Other things like, on the gap up ones, the ones that gap up, it doesn't work. So like this isn't probably a great one to hop in if it gaps up above it, because when it really gaps up, there's another example here. It pulls right back for the next few days. The ones where it tends to actually push through it tend to run.
Interesting.
All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their weekend. We will reconvene next weekend. Hopefully, I can have a solid week here. I'm excited to try some of the new strategy. I'm not sure how often I'll be able to actually do this and really look at things, but if I can, I feel like it'll be promising.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right. We will be on next week, and then I think, and as always, we try to post the time in the Discord server, so it's all there. Yeah, bit of a wild week, but let's see where this next week is going.
Yeah, we'll see. It's
Yeah,
tough to say.
it's a bit. I also saw the Trader Lion interview with that Weinstein guy, right? And they talked about like this bull market. It's not like a normal bull market. It's a bit more tricky because yeah, things are working, but there's also a lot of things that doesn't work. And I'm not sure if that's happening in all bull markets, but that's at least what they were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've seen it too. Like if I go to my market strength here, like I will say that the amount of failed breakouts have been pretty high. So
Yeah.
they're high, but that's why I look over at the win rate. So like I will say, based on the things I've seen from my breakouts though, that the win rates are still pretty good. I mean, these are all above 33%. And I'm not saying this is if you're performing almost perfectly essentially. So don't think that these numbers are like super achievable. But they're probably somewhat realistic on things. And this is your failed breakouts to current win rate, which is biased because there's a lot of names that don't necessarily fall into that category. So if you're taking things and they're not following like a very specific setup pattern, you won't actually see this. But for a lot of late pattern breakouts, this is relatively true. For the first day something breaks out. Yeah. So, the market's strong. I mean, you can see a lot of things are moving. Yeah. On Thursday, I had 407 stocks at 52-week highs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge chunk of the market that are at 52-week highs.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Talk to you next time. Johnny, have a good one, man.
See ya. You too.